All right, here we are. Welcome to Nerd Culture. So tonight, in this episode, we're going to talk about, will the movie Deadpool and Wolverine reinvigorate the MCU? We're also going to take a deep dive into the film. My name's Jess. This is Nerd Culture. And let me bring on my co-host. Well, let me say, he is a... Hold on, let me introduce you right, Chuck. If I can turn this damn music off. Tonight, joining me is comic book nerd slash comic book writer slash editor slash host, and also a Canadian. So let's bring him on tonight. Welcome, Chuck Pinot, my good friend. Welcome, Chuck.
That was a lot of slashes for a white guy. Like, I felt almost like I almost felt ethnic because there were so many, like, he does this and he's that, and I'm like, no, I'm just a white dude.
Well, it's true. It's true. All those slashes,
right? Yes, they are all true. And thank you. That's probably the best opener I've ever had. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was really sweet.
I'm glad you liked it. You liked it. I'm glad you're here. You know, it's been a long time. Some people are probably brand new here and have no idea what we're talking about, that we did this before.
Well, I mean, you and I have a history of popping back into each other's shows and just having a good old time. I love hanging out with you, and I feel like the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, that's why I invited you back. Not I'd be like, F that guy. Let's not bring Chuck back on.
Right? He better be good for something. Let's hope he brings up numbers or whatever.
Yeah, let's see what happens. We'll give it a shot. But I'm so glad you could join me. You know, I'm excited. You know, I went in your show and I was like, oh, Chuck's talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Let me send him a message. That means he's seen it. So I'm so excited to get into it. So Chuck, are you more of a Wolverine or are you more of a Deadpool person?
It's Wolverine. Like, it's not even, it's Wolverine. My entire life, I remember the first Wolverine comic I got. I remember, like, I've read literally hundreds, if not more, of books and whatnot with him in it. Seen all the movies, like, just adore Wolverine.
I guess I should have said slash Wolverine expert.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I would say I'm up there. Like, I know my stuff.
I would say so. I would say so. So perfect for you to come on and talk about this with me, because you definitely know.
As soon as you mentioned, I was like, oh, I have to do that show. Like, it's with you. Yes. And then Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, yeah, anytime. And anytime I also get to bring the comic side of it in and discuss that. Because, of course, you know, a lot of you guys probably know them from the movies and TV shows and whatnot. And I'm like, man, there's a whole other, like, there's their whole real origins that you guys are missing out on. So I'm glad to be able to come here and talk about all this cool, awesome stuff.
No, I really appreciate it, because I am, you know, I'm more of a movie person. So I'm familiar with the characters through movies and cartoons, etc. Right. So it's exciting for me to have you come in and be like, I can tell you about the background. And later, I think Chuck has made a little, so he's going to make some reading suggestions for you. And so it's going to be really awesome, guys. You want to stick around for that. And if you're in the live chat right now, we have a poll going on. Are you more of a Deadpool or are you more of a Wolverine? So click on that, guys. So far, it's 100% Deadpool, and we got one Wolverine for Chuck. So right now it's about 50-50. So my thought with this whole thing, too, I kind of want to talk about, before we dive into what this is, you know, will this film kind of revive the MCU?
So, I mean, I would say personally, it didn't really need reviving. I still love the MCU. I know that it's had some missteps for sure, but guys, like 30 movies and TV series and whatnot in I mean, they had a really good run as far as good stuff over and over and over again. Eventually, we were going to get some not great stuff. I will say, though, it is not near as bad as people seem to say. There's been a lot of series and movies and stuff that people complained about that I really enjoyed a lot. Like, loved She-Hulk, had a great time with it. Maybe didn't love the ending, but it was a lot of fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. The Marvels, I I had a great time with the Marvels.
I did. It was like, for me. It didn't
Yeah.
get me. Yeah, it was kind of like meh.
Yeah,
There
to
were
me
some
to me
things.
it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd give it a solid like 7 out of 10.
7? Okay, fair,
Yeah,
fair. I think
yeah,
seven's fair. I feel
70%.
it's not bad. It's really
Yeah.
not bad. I feel like for me, right? For me, as I felt like there were some things that kind of just, I guess, I don't want to say poopy, but you know what word I mean. I was getting a little poopy, right?
Hmm.
Um, I didn't like the last Ant-Man. I didn't, I thought it was like okay,
It was okay.
loved Loki season 2,
Hmm.
everybody knows I'm a Loki fan, Um, She-Hulk I enjoyed, and I thought a lot of people hated on it just to hate on it, but I
Yeah,
I
harder
thought
than
it
it
was fun.
deserved.
A lot harder when we're talking about a show where a lady turns into a giant green thing, and she's
Yeah.
still a lawyer. Like, it's come on. I mean, what do you guys want? That so with some of these things, it's like, what do you want, people?
Yeah.
But I think some of the movies fell a little short for me, and but here's the thing too, we're coming off like, the big Avengers movies, and so we're like way up here, we're like fudge. And then, we're starting the new I know we just talked about not doing that within
You're
this
doing good. You're doing good. It's tough.
doing good. I'm doing good because I feel, you sit and talk with a friend, the curse words will start to flow like the rivers. So you gotta rail that in a little bit and be like, okay, it's okay. But I think it's comparatively right from where we came from and the excitement.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's definitely not where it was. And I mean, we got pretty fortuitous. If you think about the first, I think it's 22 movies. I think Endgame was the 22nd movie. How many flops were there? Like
Yeah.
what? Humans? Was there some like not great ones?
Yeah,
All right,
maybe.
Thor: Dark World didn't love. Like
Thor, Love and Thunder.
yeah, but that came afterwards. So that's
Oh,
like
that's after. Yeah, that
yeah,
is
but I'm
after.
saying like before Endgame,
Oh, yeah, before
they had a
Endgame,
really
sorry.
good track record. So it was gonna fall apart eventually on some level.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people, at least I knew, started dropping off and started saying, "I'm not watching it anymore."
I mean, yeah, there's a fatigue. You feel like you have to watch all of it. And
Yes.
trust me, guys, the same thing happens in the comics where, like, I'm a big Wolverine fan and I might be, mostly keeping an eye on Wolverine, but then all of a sudden, Wolverine is doing stuff in Uncanny X Men, regular X Men. Oh, he's also in Avengers. And now they've got this huge crossover. He's going to have a big part in that. And you're just like, really? Like, I just want to see how Wolverine is. And it's like, it can be insane in that like one issue you're reading about your boy, doing whatever, and then the next issue, some crazy thing has happened to him, and you're like, how did we even get here? So it's the same thing in the comics. Sometimes you have
It
to
just
watch more
happens.
than you want to get the whole story, but it's still fun.
It's still fun, and they're not horror. They're not like nothing is like so horrible that I'm like, you know what, I can't watch this anymore. But
Yeah.
some things are a little weaker than others, and I think that's okay. I think a lot of people have been talking about like, has it reinvigorated and maybe, just brought some of these people back. Um,
I
I
mean, one
wanted to
one can hope, and
one
especially
can
with,
hope.
and I know we're going to talk about them later, but
Yeah.
with all of the cameos, I think
Yes.
that's gonna, in a lot of ways, that's really gonna tap into it. Like, kind of get people back to, even before the MCU started. Spoiler.
I know, right? Spoiler, guys. Oh, yeah. And I did want to say something if you guys are watching, and I can't believe anybody would be watching that hadn't seen it, but we do have a spoiler warning. Shh. So it is that is your warning. That's your warning there, guys. If you're scared, you can leave, but I suggest you hang out. Maybe you haven't seen it and you're like, what's it about? I found this article real quick, Chuck. Go ahead, but I wanted to
No,
show
no,
it
no.
because I think at the root of it, and we kind of talked about it, touched on it earlier, it's supposed to be fun, right? This isn't
Yeah.
Shakespeare. It's not going to be like a revolutionary story, but it takes you on a ride and it's fun, right? We get to see characters that we love,
Yep.
but I saw this just today. You know who Brian Cox is, right?
I do, and I really like him as an actor.
I do too. I think he's great. I watched Succession with him and I was like, this
Yeah.
guy is freaking fantastic. But it cracks me up because he says cinema is in a very bad way. And he cites Marvel and Deadpool by saying it's just become party time.
It's so frustrating to me that so many of these people, because it's really coming off from such a whiny place. The fact is, they want to tell indie stories like they used to on big screens. And it's like, the world is kind of telling you, we don't want that in such big quantities anymore.
Right.
And you can say, oh, it's because of superheroes. Buddy, if your movie was what people wanted to watch, they'd be watching it.
Shh. Chuck just told you, Brian Cox. But he also reminded everybody that he was William Stryker in X2 X-Men United too. See? So
yeah, he was. First time I saw him was in Braveheart.
See, yeah, Braveheart.
So good.
Great actor. Is it just kind of seems like sometimes it's just kind of old men, complaining.
I mean, there's been older ladies who did it too. I know there's a couple ladies who said, no, we hate these Marvel movies. And I'm like, you can hate whatever you want, man. But like, it's like me complaining about Marvel and DC in comics because it doesn't leave a lot of room for the rest of us. But that's on us to just push, and in fact, indie is in a lot of ways really coming on strong. There's so many great indie titles that are becoming TV shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's happening. You just got to do the work.
Yeah, so it's I think it's fun. I really enjoy, the comic book movies, I obviously, and I think it's I don't know, let them do their, their serious drama films, we still watch those too, so I want to ask you, Chuck, did you like actively try to avoid spoilers when you watched before it?
Yeah, this is anything with Wolvie in it. I try to take really seriously. Like I remember with Logan, it was pretty obvious that Logan, and again, spoiler, that he wasn't going to make it.
Later.
Yeah, that he wasn't going to make it, but still, I wanted to know as little as possible, and I did that. I was able to, for the most part. I think the day of, I got spoiled on something. One of the cameos. I got spoiled on one of the cameos. But other than that, like, actually, it's pretty good.
So I like whenever, because I go on Twitter a lot, right? Because I check like news and stuff, and it's kind of a good place to have like a live feed of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I usually go in my muted words, right? Like last time I did this was for the last Spider-Man, but I went in. And so I blocked Deadpool, I blocked Wolverine, I blocked Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel, spoiler, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, like whatever I could think of, right? And I'm doing pretty good. I'm staying off everything else because I can't stop, something else.
Yeah.
But then it's also, I think it's like the week of Comic-Con, right? So I didn't block Comic-Con stuff. So I was like,
Whoa.
oh, I saw something that had a couple of the actors' names who ended up being cameos. So I click on a video of this panel, and my brain, Chuck, my brain had trouble at first connecting what was going on as I'm watching it. I was like, well, why is Ryan Reynolds there, and why is this person coming out? Wait, why is this person? Oh my god. And then I was like, bloody freaking hell. Because I was gonna see it just a couple days later, and I was like, mother beep,
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up seeing it the Tuesday after. So about 4 or 5 days in, and it was mostly spoiler free. So yeah.
Yeah, that was that is what happened to me. And it was, and I saw that probably Thursday night, and then I saw it that Sunday.
I
So
think what's really good about the movie, especially if you're like a storyteller, you really like pay attention to story details.
yeah.
The actual story, like the central plot and everything, it's pretty cut and dry. You know what I mean? Like it all
Yeah.
kind of makes sense, and it's all sort of like um the quest. You know what? You brought it up in our notes as we were talking, and you said you felt like it was a really good what is it, buddy cop movie?
Buddy Cop.
Yeah. Which
He's
so I felt like it was a really good road trip movie. Felt like a road
well,
trip movie to me.
yeah, because they're like
Yeah.
on a destination,
Yeah.
right? So I get that. I get the kind of like the buddy cop thing too, so it's kind of
Yep.
like it's a combination of these genres that we all know and love, right? But they've plugged Deadpool and Wolverine into it, and we get to see them go on this adventure together.
Yep. And it's really nice to see the arcs in the characters
Yes,
because of
yes.
the two very different Wolverine and Deadpool that we have.
I think that's kind of where the heart of the story is, right? Where we
Yeah.
see their arc, and we see how they ultimately become friends. And it's a beautiful moment, Chuck. Um so yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, do you want to, I guess, kind of go into like kind of I guess we could start with the opening a little bit, because I heard a lot of people kind of say, well, it ruins what happened at the end of Logan.
Oh, no, did you see the director? I can't remember his name right now. But did
Sean
you see that
Levy,
he actually put out an article?
did he actually put out an article?
Yeah, he
What did
put
he
out an
say?
article about it. And I didn't have to read very much of it, but what I did read was him going, "That's crap." They gave our movie tons of love. No, like, yeah, I thought it was, yeah. I think that's a silly thing to mention. They definitely showed their love of it. Yeah, okay. He he dances with a corpse, and that might
Yeah.
seem like really rude and whatnot, but no, man, it was how Deadpool shows love. But
Yeah.
I would say bringing in, and I can't remember the actress's name. Actually, you've got great notes.
Okay, where?
Daphne
Where?
Keene.
Yeah, see, that's why I did it. That's why I did it. It happened
Bringing
so
you did great. Bringing in Daphne Keene as an older X-23 was amazing. First off, I've always enjoyed the character of X-23, and I love Daphne's rendition of it.
Yes.
And honestly, in this movie, I just their connection was great. Everything was terrific. Like they pulled all of that over. Nah, man, it's almost like a freaking love letter to Logan in my mind.
Yes. Yes. Hold on. I'm trying to open up some things because I think I have a couple pictures too. If we want to,
James
yeah,
Mangold. That's the name of the
James
director. I just
Mangold.
remembered it.
Yes. So because I'm a nerd, I went back and, leading up to watching this movie, right? I went way, way back to like the first X-Men movie.
Dude.
Um, yeah, I went all the freaking way back, watched all the Wolverines, watched all the Deadpools, whoa, what happened? Okay, hold on, Chuck. Nope. Why is it doing that? Okay. Jesus. I just wanted to put a little picture up while we chat so people know what we're
Right?
talking about. I was having so many issues there. Is it good if I do this? Okay. Sorry, I've got too many windows open as I try to make this look cool, guys. But no, but I thought, because it kind of established right at the beginning that, we're on a different timeline. This is not the same. We are not meeting. This isn't our Wolverine that we grew up with, that we watched in all those X-Men movies and all his, solo Wolverine movies and Logan. This is not him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very different Wolverine. I love it. And of course we got to see all those sweet Wolverine variants too.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
hold on. I might have a picture of one or two.
Cool, because the ones that you do, I was literally watching them, and as a comic nerd, I was like, know it. Like I was so ecstatic. So I'll everyone we've got, I'll talk a little bit about it, and we've got some other ones coming up later that I could explain.
Okay. This one here, I did not know, and I was like, whoa, because I was like, I wasn't expecting it. And, and people always say this guy right here would be a good Wolverine, except for he's freaking giant.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
Jackman's jacked.
Yeah.
Right?
Jackman's like what, 6'1"?
And dude, yeah. And so, yeah, because, what we saw, and I don't have a picture, but I do have a cover of a comic that shows a short Wolverine, because I laughed so darn hard. Let me see. Actually, Chuck, maybe I can use my fast internet skills really quick.
I believe in you. So
okay, hold on. Keep going.
You want me to vamp as you do that?
Yeah. Go, Chuck, go. Here we go.
So that one that you just showed, that picture, was freaking amazing.
Let me bring it back up so people can
I loved
see.
Henry Cavill. Even just I love him just as an actor.
I love him so much.
The Witcher?
Yeah, dude. I love him in The Witcher.
You and me both, girl. You and me both. Woo. And so seeing, and I was another one who was like, he would make a great Wolverine. And he looks it. Like he's not, girls, I'm sorry to have to say this. This is not an attractive man. Like, he does not look like hot.
Not like Henry Cavill.
And that's my Wolverine. Wolverine is an ugly little bastard, and somehow he still pulls.
Somehow, right?
It's sheer confidence and attitude.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be. What is he supposed to be? Under 5 foot?
He's not. He is 5'5" in the comics.
Oh, well, then you know what? Wolverine is the same height as me.
He's not. He's short compared to all these freaking
Henry Cavill
tall dudes. Yeah, we're at the 15-minute mark, so it's okay. But I was like, hold back.
Okay, so I don't have, because for some reason. Okay, here I got something. This is from Google. No, yeah, here I got something. Here we go. This is from an account called Screen Thrill. I did it, guys. You'll be so proud of me. Hold on. I got a short Wolverine for you. And the actor who did the body double for it, because that dude was actually right. Short. Boom.
Yeah. 4'10", I believe they said. 4'11".
I would laugh so hard if there was a tiny little Wolverine. Actually his normal size.
Right? And actually, I was wrong. He's 5'3" in the comics. I'm sorry.
You telling me, Chuck? I would be taller than Wolverine?
You'd be 2 inches taller than Wolverine. I'd be able to look down on Wolverine. I love that idea.
Yeah. Look how little he is. He'd have to jump up on the stool.
Right.
But imagine that guy coming at you with adamantium claws, like that,
Dude,
There's
something scary about a short man, and he's burly, by the way. Like, he is built like a freaking tree, man. And him running at you completely unafraid, you know he knows something that you don't. And that's scary.
That's pretty scary, yeah. I
Yeah.
would be scared of him. Okay, let's see if I can get the next one up.
I mean,
if somebody has a picture, is this
people
that's
forget
YouTube.
all the time, but his first fight was Hulk. His first fight is against the Hulk.
I don't have that scene either. But in the movie, hold on, I think I have that suit picture though.
So what's amazing, and I'm gonna, while you look for more pictures.
Hold on. I got some ready.
Right? I'm gonna tell you guys that Wolverine and Hulk moment was actually 2 Easter eggs in one. Oh, okay. Dude, yes. So classic brown suit Wolverine.
Brown suit.
Dude, this is probably one of my favorites.
Right?
Oh, dude, it's the closest to nature. It just, man, yeah. There's something a lot more primal about that than like the blue and yellow, you know?
Yeah, I think blue and yellow, I mean, it has its own, it's a different look, definitely.
Yeah. And that mask, the masks look great.
Oh, didn't they though?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find. So I can't find. Okay, what is the next Wolverine you want to talk about? Let me see if I can find a picture of that Wolverine, or if I have.
We were talking about Wolverine and Hulk.
Yeah, so this is the Wolverine and Hulk costume.
This is
one.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you find one, I'll talk about whatever you find next. That's not an issue.
Okay, let's see. Chuck can do it. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got it. But Wolverine and Hulk, this was actually 2 Easter eggs in one, which it was something that was really cool because again, Wolverine's first comic ever, his first appearance is Hulk 180 or 181, depending on who you ask. 180 because you literally see him in, I think it's like 2 or 3 panels, like he's in the very end, like, what's up, I'm here. And then so most people say 181 is his first actual appearance. And so it's very much like a call to that. It's Hulk and Wolverine together fighting each other and fighting the Wendigo. So seeing these 2 guys, it's like, okay, cool. That's a really good one. But then Wolverine also pops his claws and we see the Hulk in his claws. And I can't remember the name of the comic, but there's a incredibly famous Hulk cover with Wolverine with his claws out, and you can see the Hulk mirrored in the claws. And it's amazing. Right. It's just such a good piece. It's homaged all the time. And it's just such a cool piece. And so seeing both of those in one little blurb was awesome. And see, guys, all she did was show me a freaking picture.
This is why I knew.
Show me a picture. I got it.
I knew Chuck could do it. I knew I couldn't do it because there's just, I don't even know if that's.
It's so much.
There's so much. And, I'm a big movie. Like I said, I'm more of a movie nerd. So I don't know these things. But Chuck, since he's, both, he does know these things. Okay, let's see. I have a picture and I don't have a front picture, but I have a back picture, I think, here. Where'd it go? Hold on. There. Here we go. Let's see if Chuck knows. Chuck probably knows. Chuck knows. Ready? This is
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
My brain's trying to siphon through them. Oh, this is Patch. Yes. So, at one point, the X-Men are dead, and this is in the comics, and so they end up hiding away in Australia, and they have a secret base in Australia, and they basically go off and still, fight crime and try to protect mutant rights, but they do it from a place of they're dead, so they're hiding. And Wolverine, in his own comic book was going on at that time. He would one of the things that they had him do was he would leave to a nearby Indonesian island called Madripoor, and he would go there as a character called Patch. And he had the one patch over his eye, the white suit and everything, and he worked as like a bouncer in a bar or something. Or no, I think actually he ended up being the owner of the Princess Bar. And it was just really cool character. It was neat to see him doing stuff that was very much not superhero based. Claws weren't really popping out. He was just having to deal with a lot of like local, because it's a very seedy place. It's all very like gangs and all that kind of stuff. So it was really like neat. You were seeing this really interesting Oriental style stories. You know, it was very cool. A lot of fun.
See, I did see. This is why we need Chuck, because I would have been like, "Cool, eye patch Wolverine. What do we got next?"
Neat.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. And that was just the back, folks. Imagine what I could have said if I saw his face.
I know, and and for some reason that was the one I couldn't find the face. That's the screen capture I could find.
No, but it was perfect. It was all I needed.
See, that's all you need. So this last one, it's also proven, and I don't know why, so darn hard to find a photo of.
I can't remember a couple more. So
go on, please. Maybe say it, and I'll see if I can find it.
So there was the one Wolverine where he was missing one hand.
Yes. What is that from?
Cool. That is from the Age of Apocalypse. And what happened to Age of Apocalypse Wolverine was he and Age of Apocalypse is amazing. It's this world where Charles Xavier dies, and so Magneto has to create the X-Men. And he just cannot do what Xavier does, and the world goes to heck. Goes to hell.
Oh,
we're half an hour. Goes to hell.
We're half an hour, and you can say it.
Fuck yeah. So everything goes to hell, and Apocalypse has taken over, and Cyclops is actually a bad guy. And at one point, Wolverine goes to save Jean Grey and pull her away from Apocalypse's grasp. And Cyclops and him getting into this bad fight, Wolverine actually pops out one of Cyclops' eyes.
Ew.
And Cyclops shoots off Wolverine's hand. And so he's got this big like tin thing that sits there, and he's missing one hand. And so when you see that, that's the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which honestly, one of my favorite. Written by one of my favorite Wolverine writers, Larry Hama, who's just awesome. Like, if you know anything about G.I. Joe and stuff, the guy's brilliant. But such an awesome Wolverine, one of my favorites. And in fact, there's so much cool stuff I could tell you guys about this Wolverine, and I don't want you to. I want you to go out, find Wolverine. It's actually Weapon X, he's called. Weapon X, Age of Apocalypse. Oh my gosh, it's amazing, and you will go nuts. You don't have to read all of Age of Apocalypse. You can just read Wolverine stuff and understand the story. And what he goes through in those 4 issues is amazing. It's one of my favorite Wolverine stories. I'm gushing.
Awesome. Okay. See, not knowing much about the books, even I forgot about that one.
So good. Did you have any other pictures? Because I remember one more.
I have an image from a comic book that is one of the Wolverines that you could probably talk about.
Okay. We can do that, especially if it was... Oh, this is the one I remember. This is the one I was hoping you would bring up. Oh my gosh. So, people, the X-Men, as I told you earlier, they're in Australia at this time. This was when Patch was around, but Wolverine, of course, would also have adventures with them. These guys called the Reavers. They're basically mutant haters who are also cyborgs. They've ripped apart most of their bodies and turned it into cybernetic enhancements, and they come at the X-Men hard. And Wolverine ends up getting caught, and he's thrown up on a cross. And it's a brutal story. It's amazing. And he's actually saved by a very a surprising for them new character who ended up becoming a very important person to Wolverine. Not screw it. It's been like 40 years.
I think it's okay, Chuck.
Yeah. Jubilee, who was a new member to
Oh,
the team, finds him. She's been hiding away. She actually was able to get there via some weird teleportation fun thing, and that's how she showed up. And she ends up pulling Wolvie off the cross and
oh,
taking him to safety, and they end up becoming very close. Which Wolverine has always had younger women that he mentored, and like there was never anything sexual about it. I always
right.
loved, yeah, and he really taught these women to be, tough, take care of themselves, and just, yeah, I loved the dichotomy you would get from those pairings. And Jubilee was one, and that started in that issue, which is gut wrenching to read.
Oh man, I think
Yeah.
there's only one more, and then I actually want to go back a second because we're like 6 minutes in, and we haven't even said why we're looking at what happened in the story to why we're talking about all
Right,
these
right.
Wolverines. People are like, man, all these Wolverines, but why? But why?
Hopefully you guys watch the movie, so it's all good.
I hope so. So that makes sense. I guess what hold on. So there was also the older Wolverine, which I don't have a picture of.
So that's Old Man Logan, which was a short run that someone did. It was a world where Wolverine actually ended up killing the X-Men accidentally. I think because
Whoops.
of like Mysterio or something. Made him think that they were someone else, and he ended up killing all the X-Men, except for a very few, one being Charles Xavier. That's what Logan was based off of, was this Old Man Logan. Yeah. And it's really interesting. He ends up on a really weird cross-country road trip style thing with Hawkeye, with a blind Hawkeye.
With blind. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. You see like this wasteland of what the Marvel universe has become. It's really super dark and post-apocalyptic, but really cool, a lot of fun. It's a good read. And that's who did that? Mark Millar, who
Mark Millar.
yeah, and he's done tons of the stuff you guys have watched. Wanted was one of his. I know there's better examples, but I can't remember them right now.
I know, and if I were to look at my phone and type it in, I could tell you guys
Right?
too in a moment. No, now I'm not going to. I'm not going to, guys. You can look up Mark Millar yourself. So what happens is, right? Deadpool's at a party for him or some shit, right? And then the TVA shows up, and if you guys remember the TVA, that's the Time
Yeah.
Variance Authority that was in Loki. So he ends up at the TVA, which is why I brought up this picture earlier. Now I remember why I had him in the elevator. But there he has basically nobody tells him, but he gets this idea that if he, we lost the Wolverine in this timeline, so they're going to, cut the timeline. And he gets the idea if I get a new Wolverine and bring it to this timeline, then the timeline will be saved.
Yeah.
Oh no. So then that kind of sends him on that whole journey that we just went through where he tries to find a Wolverine. But then he ends up finding his, I guess, the right Wolverine, the Wolverine we get to meet in this one.
And what I love about it is most people say throughout that he's the worst Wolverine. And
but is he the worst, or is he
no,
the best Wolverine?
he was the right guy for the job. And you know what I loved was that beautiful moment again with X-23 where she says, you're never the right man for the job until you are.
Yeah.
And that was my tear up moment, because originally we only hear the first half. It's not until later in the movie where we hear exactly what she said. And I remember when she said it the first time, again, folks, big Wolverine fan. So she says, no, you're not the right Wolverine. And I said, like, in my own head, I was like, but he will be. and it came back, and I was like, yeah. I'm like fucking tearing up and stuff, because It was such a great redemptive moment, and I know I'm jumping ahead. I apologize, but
That's okay. We're
yeah,
doing our best.
yeah.
We're
As
doing
long
our
as we catch
best.
ourselves.
Yeah. We're doing our best. That's why I said it's a freaking roadmap, Chuck. It's a roadmap.
Yeah,
So maybe I'll save this question for later so that we can dive into some of the cameos.
yeah.
I think it's time
I'm
because,
good.
people were like, oh, it's just going to be a freaking, just like all these people, and there's going to be no reason behind it. And they're just doing it for cameos.
They're in the void. Like, it's a perfect reason to be able to do it.
Oh,
Like, it was so perfect.
it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess what we could do here is was there anyone that like was the that like really got you at it, like that you didn't know about maybe, or you're like, oh hell yeah.
Um. Yeah. I Blade.
Fuck it. I can say it now. Fucking Blade.
Yeah. Blade. Fucking Blade. That was, yeah. Yeah. For
Oh,
me, when he came out and he had that great little white streak in his goatee and stuff, and I was just
right?
like, oh crap. And of course, we get to see him fight, which again, just these guys got to kick so much ass. And again, I know we're gonna talk about it later, but just when you see Blade, you got to see him fight, and we got to see all of it. And I was so excited. It was that was one that I didn't know I would care about as much as I
About
did.
I that was one of the people that went on stage to when I watched that Comic-Con panel.
No,
And so I was like, are they making a Blade movie? In my head, and I'm like, my brain is trying to like protect itself, right? It's like, no,
yeah,
Jess, they're just making a Blade movie. He's not standing next to Ryan Reynolds. But for me, right, I had just like this rush of like, oh my God, I'm so glad because if you remember back in Blade 3, when they brought Ryan Reynolds on to do the spin-off movie, right, with his team, that, him and Wesley didn't really get along very well. And I think I've
yeah,
told this story before, but like he wouldn't like Wesley decided, I'm not communicating with the director, I'm not talking to any of the actors, I'm coming out, I'm doing my scene back in my trailer. He's writing post-its, to communicate. He really, he always felt that Blade was like a solo character, and to put him with like this team like that for a spinoff was just kind of like just because he loves Blade. If there's an actor that loves playing a character, it's him playing Blade.
yeah. And I think that that's probably some really good starting ground for Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes to speak to talk, because they both have such reverence for the characters that they play.
Yes. I think maybe Ryan Reynolds, maybe he could have been a little bit irritating when he was younger. And maybe, Wesley was a little younger. Maybe he was a little like, there was a little bit of a bumping of egos, as you will. And I think they've both grown up too. And, and I think it's kind of a it's a beautiful moment
Yeah,
for people who know that, right?
yeah, that's true. There is a meta factor to it that's beautiful. Absolutely.
Nerds, nerds. So, so I have to say, right? When Chris Evans shows up, like right when they get in the void, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's Captain freaking America, right? And that's what Deadpool thinks.
And I'll tell you, I knew right away. I was like, I know what they're doing. They
Oh,
just because the cloak not being able to see anything, I was like, he's Johnny Storm. It's the perfect joke. You have to make him Johnny Storm. It's too funny not to. And
I
yeah,
I lost it. I laughed. I was like,
yeah,
oh fuck, it's Johnny freaking Storm. Oh, see, Sylvain says it was hilarious. Uh, I died. I was dying, right? And next to me was like a younger person. Not like, I mean, like, a younger person. So maybe they weren't around for all these movies. They would have had to go back and watch them. So I'm just like, oh my God, this is freaking hilarious. I'm like laughing. And every time like something like Johnny Storm comes out. And I tell you this, Chuck, when Elektra came out, because Electra, I had no idea. She was 100% like surprised, right? And I was like, oh, and this kid looks over at me like, I don't even know who that is, So it's funny, right? Because like I'm getting really, I'm freaking reacting. I'm having a ball with it.
To me, this group of people, and also, and we don't have to talk about it too much, but one of the end credits, they do a little kind of goodbye to Fox,
Yes,
and
yes,
this felt like a goodbye to that era. Of course,
yes.
having Elektra, Blade, Fantastic Four, like all that kind of stuff, and even a Gambit that never was. It's
The
kind of a
gambit
goodbye
that
to the
never was.
yeah. That's a goodbye to the Fox era. And
Yeah.
sadly, I was aware of her, and so it brought it down a little bit. But she kicked so much ass, and she did a really good job
She
again. Like
did
I
such a good
didn't
job.
hate her as Elektra. I
I
didn't
didn't
love her,
either. I
but I
think
didn't hate her.
I didn't hate her. I think she was a victim of the movie just not being super great, but she did a wonderful job.
You know what? She was a victim of that. Like so, honestly, I want a, I love um Electra Nachios. I love
Yeah.
that Greek Greek goddess who becomes a ninja. Like just her whole story is so interesting and captivating, and I really do enjoy the character. And so casting her, you lose that right away. So that was a little bit of a And I felt like
Yeah.
they'd already kind of pulled themselves back. And yeah, writing and stuff, like even when she ended up having her own movie, which again, I liked her. I thought she did a good job. Just wasn't an
Yeah.
amazing movie. It's not a great story. And
No.
you're right. Like
I think there
she
was a
was a victim
tattoo
of
man.
not great movies.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think one of the villains was like his tattoos came alive and attacked her.
Yeah, I believe that was a woman, I thought, but yeah,
Or
yeah,
is a, I
yeah.
mean, it's been years. It's been years since I've seen it.
You're
But
right, yeah.
I'm gonna tell
And
you
then there was
something.
a poison lady, and
Oh
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Was there a tree lady or were they in a forest? Because I can't remember.
No, I think you're right. I think they're right. It was weird.
It's,
Let's be honest.
it was
The bad
weird, guys.
guys were
It was
just really
weird.
weird.
It was a weird. I'm sorry, I'm like getting away from my mic, but it was a weird time, right?
Yeah,
And it was like this period where like I guess without, and the thing is too, and I might change the title of this to like Deadpool and Wolverine, like a love, close, trimming the Fox universe, something. I'll figure it out. Something snazzy, but I think without all these films that they're paying homage to and bringing these characters in and honoring them, we wouldn't have what we have today. The kids today don't understand that before, right? If you wanted a comic book, well, you just freaking go. You want to watch it? Well, you got to go watch, that movie because that's all there is. You don't have a
yeah,
choice. So you're gonna go watch Elektra. You're gonna go watch. I think what but no, Blade was good though. Blade was kind of the beginning of it, I'd say. Blade was
yeah,
a good movie. It was a solid, it's still
yeah.
solid.
That movie not only was a solid movie, but it actually holds up really well.
Oh my god, I could watch Blade like if it was on TV, I'd just like sit and watch it. Blade is
To,
one of those movies.
to me, Blade is one of those movies that came out at a time when a lot of those movies don't hold up as well. But to me, it reminds me a lot of The Crow. It's a
Mhm.
dark, gothic movie that
As a
takes
yep.
itself seriously, but not too seriously. But also, actually, aged fine, like really
Aged
well. Like
wonderfully,
you
right?
can still watch that and go, cool, not corny. I'm in. Like,
Right?
yeah, they
100%.
hold up.
They definitely hold up 100%. So, even let me go back a moment, Chuck, because
Yeah.
I knew Channing Tatum was going to be in it because of the panel too, right? And
Mm,
so I was like, oh, in my head, oh look, there's Channing Tatum. Oh my god! And then so I was like, oh my freaking god, they're gonna do it. And so even in the theater when the card goes flying through the fucking door, I was like, oh damn, Gambit,
yeah.
um, because I love Gambit. I've always loved Gambit. I
Yeah.
actually have X-Men Wolverine's Origins Gambit back here somewhere in this red lighting. And so, and you know, Chuck, my dog's name was Gambit. That's how much I
Yeah.
love Gambit. Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up just in case because I know you love
yeah,
him
it's
so much.
you
He
know,
was
it's
such a
so I love that guy. And I was so sensitive for so long about him. I couldn't even say it. But now
he
I
was
can say
such a great dog. Like really.
he was an awesome guy.
Yeah.
He was awesome. And he had a diamond, because he was black and white, but he had a little white diamond on the back of his head. And I was like, it's like he's got his little playing card, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And yeah, dude. So I was never excited about Channing Tatum as Gambit.
I love Channing Tatum. He's just like so goofy.
I like him too. Did you see Bullet Train?
Yes.
He was so hilarious in that movie. He had like the smallest little bit role, and it was so funny. Is this a sex thing? So good.
So good. And I think he doesn't take himself seriously, I think, and that's what's freaking funny about him, you know.
Yep. And he's a guy actually who looks like he would take himself seriously. I think that's the other thing too. Like anyone could do what he does, but just because of his look, he looks like he would take himself really seriously. So yeah, man, it's funny, but I didn't think it would work, and I was just like, when it didn't happen, I was like, probably for the best. I didn't mind the Gambit that we had, but he did a really good job.
Oh, Tyler Kitsch, the old Gambit, the
Yeah,
last
like
live action
Tyler.
Gambit. He was all right. I mean, that guy, he was a victim of John Carter of Mars. You know, we had a long you know, maybe we gotta find those, bring those episodes over here because they make more sense on this channel, right? They don't make any sense over there. But yeah, the John Carter of Mars, Taylor Kitsch, he had like, they tried with him, and I think since that movie bombed so freaking bad that, you know, Gambit never came back until he came back as Channing Mother Bleeping Tatum. But here's the thing, you know, he's got the freaking face frame, he's got the hair, he's got the silver boots, he's got the jacket. Like, he looks like Gambit, and I freaking died when he started talking. Like, I lost it. He went like full 100% Cajun.
And yeah, he really, like you said, man, he really grasped the ridiculousness. And between him and Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool playing off of each other, they did a really good job. Yeah, it actually worked. I'm surprised, but it worked really well.
It worked, and I found it freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I loved it. You know, I love Gambit, so I was like, they brought me
was that your tear moment?
Gambit. That was my tear moment. Yeah. So I'm sitting there in the movies, right? I'm like, gotta like, nobody else. I'm like, nobody else is tearing right now. They're not tearing. So I'm like, you know, and I was like, I love it so much. So that was my tear moment, but I forgot, as we were talking about him, here is Blade as well. We didn't show that photo of Blade, but yeah.
Oh yeah, look at him. Dude. What are we, like 25 years later?
He could still fucking play Blade.
Oh,
why can't we have old Blade? Why can, you know, what's his name? Hugh Jackman come back a billion times, but why not Blade?
Right? And I can't say his name properly, so I apologize. Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Love him as an actor, and I actually think that he could do a really good job of it. But you got a guy here who's done it, who now 4 times, and dude, he could totally launch another one. I would watch this shit.
I hope somebody is listening, Marvel, because he could still do it. And I think Sylvain said the best line he had when he came out was when they were getting ready to go battle is, "There's only one blade," and it cracked me up so hard. I thought it was a great line, and so Wesley Snipes, and so Bladey.
Oh yeah. And so Deadpool-y too, right? For like, so if you're gonna say a line like that, that's when you say it.
And I think that's the feel, the tone of it. It's very, you know, it's it's self-aware, and I enjoy
Yeah.
that too. It's very meta, and I don't know, I'm here for it, right? Like, people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is not cinema," but this is a fucking movie. This is a
Hmm.
thing that people had fun with. This is something that, brought tears to people's eyes, and I wanna know, Chuck, when was your moment?
The tier, it's
Yeah,
it's X-23, 100%.
okay,
Yeah, like, it just
100%.
I love their connection. I love
It's just so
everything that
touching, right?
yeah, 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 just they did such a good job of that relationship, and, she brought it onward, and what I loved is that you could really get the feeling from her that she's like, "I know you're not my Wolverine,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. You're still my Wolverine." You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
so
any
yeah.
Wolverine who shows up, I've got his fucking back, and I feel like Wolverine would do the same thing
If
for
yeah.
an X-23 or a Kitty Pryde or whomever, you know what I mean? Like, whoever he's, Jean Grey in the movies especially, like, "Even if you're not mine, I'll take care of you, like, I got this," and so, I love that she mimicked that. Um, it just felt so good, so I loved that. I will say if we're just talking favorite moments,
Yes.
for me, I don't know what it is, but just that fight inside the car where they
The
beat the
freaking car
shit out of
fight,
each
right?
other. Dude, it was you know what it reminded me of? It basically kind of reminded me almost like the hallway scene that they did
Yes.
in Daredevil.
Yes.
I
Oh,
don't remember
the
if it's all in
famous
one
hall,
shot,
yeah. Ooh.
but it's just the fact that they're just beating the shit out of each other, and you know they can't kill each other, and it doesn't matter. They're just gonna go until they're exhausted, and these guys, like, literally, that fight could have gone on for days. And I love suddenly you look and there's Wolverine laying there exhausted, ready to go to sleep, and Deadpool just wrapped up. Like, it was a
It
perfect way
was
to end it.
hilarious.
Perfect.
Freaking hilarious. I thought I had a picture from in the minivan, but apparently I don't. But no, that was a fantastic fight. It
Yeah,
was a lot of fun. I think having like, I think what's fun about like that fight choreography there, right, is that it is in this very confined place where you have two people who are basically warriors having to engage in battle in such a tight area.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I loved the idea of it, the feel of it, the execution, like just that fight, all of it. And it's so fucking petty too. And those two characters together can be very petty people. And so everything about the fight was just it was down dirty. That was not a normal superhero fight. When you see superheroes fight, there's some dignity to it. There was no dignity in what
No,
those
this
two
is
did to each other.
I mean, that is one of my favorite fights in the movie. Do
Yeah.
I wait, what is my other favorite moments? Hold on. Okay, yeah, I had minivan fight on there, on my list too.
Okay, so we had the same thing.
Yeah, that was the same. I have that on mine
Dude.
too.
Yeah.
Um, my second favorite, you wanna hear my second favorite one?
Yeah, okay, because I think I have one now.
Okay. My second favorite is the Deadpool fight where, all the Deadpool variants show up and is the scene where we see finally Wolverine pulls the cowl up and he's got the mask on and they're
Yeah.
plowing through all these different Deadpools.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. Yeah, I it was that was a really good fight.
And hold on.
Do you know, by the way, are you aware of who played Ladypool?
Ooh, tell us, Chuck, because
Do you
I'm
not
not sure.
know?
I do know, but I want you to tell
Oh,
us.
okay. Ryan's wife, Blake Lively, played
Isn't that
Ladypool. And
hilarious?
dude, it was brilliant. Like, she just did such a great job. Yeah. Oh my gosh. How is Deadpool that sexy? Like, it's stupid.
Right?
It's just
Right?
oh, it's stupid. Just and seriously, she looked like she was poured into the freaking suit. And
Right.
she did such a great job. She was just like really got that role and really felt it out and just did a great job of it. I loved it.
She did awesome. She did
Yeah.
really awesome. Let's see. There's Kid Pool.
Which, by the way, there was a kid pool and a baby pool.
Or maybe Baby
Those
Pool.
were his
Nope.
kids.
Oh, there. Yeah, we don't have the screenshots here.
Yeah. But yeah, those were his kids.
Isn't that funny? His whole family. Oh, we lost Chuck. So while Chuck is coming back, yeah, no, he had his whole family Deadpooled up. Also, we had Headpool, which I thought was great. It was Nathan Fillion. Yeah, that's right, who did the voice on that. Hopefully, Chuck comes back. Oh, there we go. Whew, thought I was gonna have to finish out this Deadpool list by myself.
I know. I was trying to hit something, and instead I hit leave, and I was like, no.
I was like, no.
Cowboy Deadpool.
We had Cowboy Deadpool, which they don't have a picture of. I went to this one because I was like, you know what? Maybe they have the pictures, but they don't. And I did notice the Ronin pool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if people are soccer fans or whatnot, but they had the Welsh pool, which it was actually from it was Paul Mullins, who is the Dragons, their captain, their best player, and he wanted to be in the movie, and so they made him a Welsh Deadpool, which was really cool.
It was so cool. And if people don't know, it's because most people, I assume people are nerdy enough to know that Ryan Reynolds co-owns that soccer team with
Wrexham.
What's that guy's? The Always Sunny
Rob
guy.
McElhenney.
Yep, McElhenney. I can't say his last. I was like McElhenney, and I know Ryan did that whole thing like with pronouncing his last name, like, and I was like, that's how you say that guy's name. I don't know this Deadpool. I didn't know the future.
I don't either. I've never been a 2099 fan.
Okay, Golden Age Deadpool, which I don't remember seeing, but
yeah, it's funny.
There's a whole Zenpool.
Oh wow, I've never seen that one. That's cool.
And so it was like a nice. And there was
So when we were talking about favorite, another favorite moment for me, it was Peter Pool. I loved when she said every Deadpool has a Peter, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I love the relationship between them. I love that somehow he just fell in love with Peter like that.
No matter what, like universe, no matter what timeline,
there's a Peter.
Always loves a Peter. And so I thought that was a fantastic moment, and I figured that would lead into like talk about the Deadpools would lead right into it. But that was another moment where I was like, "No, it's Peter. Peter stops the fight."
Yeah, and it just did such a great job. And Sugar Bear is one of my favorite characters. I have to say, oh yeah, dude, Dog Pool. Do you know the story about that dog?
Her name is Peggy. I know that. Oh no, wait. Her name is Peggy, right? Peggy the dog? They don't say here.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think you might be right.
I think her name is Peggy. And I think she was the world's ugliest dog, right? Last year?
The Great Britain's ugliest dog.
But she's so cute. She's so cute with the little tongue out.
He had to get her to lick his face. So actually, what you can't tell is there was actually peanut butter on the side of his face and in his mouth, so that she would do that.
That is so funny. I thought she just liked it.
And they were like, I mean, how was it? He's like, it was disgusting. Like it was terrible, but it's the bits. Like you have to.
That's his job.
Yeah. And I really respect that.
So here's the thing. I feel like this is a real face that Hugh Jackman is making here. I feel like that's a real face.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not acting.
Yeah.
And I think we had the original one. Nice Pool we don't have a picture of. And I thought as a Canadian you might connect with Nice Pool.
Nice Pool was funny. Actually, you know what? I liked Nice Pool until somebody else came out and said, you know what they really should have done has gotten Ryan Gosling to play Nice Pool,
That would have been
because
hilarious.
people often get Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds
I'm
mixed up, and it would be funny, as since Gosling is also a Canadian and considered a lot nicer,
Yeah. Holy
that
crap,
it
I
would
didn't
be
know he was
funny if he had
Canadian
been
too.
Nice Pool. And I was like, actually, that
Actually,
headcanon so good that I'm now like post disappointed that it didn't happen.
I am too.
Yeah,
Oh
right?
man, I didn't even know. So
Yeah.
Chuck, yeah, I didn't even know. I was gonna ask you, so do you think is Peter the anchor being? Because the concept of anchor being for a universe comes up in this film.
So no. And the reason why is that he's an anchor being for Deadpool. So every Deadpool has a Peter. So that makes sense that in Deadpool's life. But as I said, there's an anchor in each world. And of course, we're trying to talk about like 616, like the main
Yeah,
MCU, whatever that
where
is.
we yeah, this is what we
Yeah.
know, right?
What do they call it? The sacred timeline?
Yeah, on don't yeah, you're not supposed to ruin the sacred timeline, as they
Yeah.
say.
So I heard this theory somewhere else, and so I can't say that it's mine, but I love
Yeah.
it and it makes perfect sense. And they said the MCU's um anchor is already dead because it was Iron Man. And I was like,
I
ooh, I
ooh, right.
think that makes a lot of sense.
It does, right? It makes a lot of sense because who started I mean, I know there were Hulk movies prior to that, but the first like MCU movie was Iron Man.
So yeah, Hulk came, like both Hulks came first. Or yeah, I don't, well, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So one Hulk came first, but it was
The
still afterwards. They said, yeah, it's an MCU movie, whatever.
like it's part of it, guys. It just
Yeah,
came out before we announced all this stuff and came up
right.
with it.
But Iron Man was the first time Avengers was mentioned, and that was at the very end when who was it? I believe it was Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah. And
shows
that
up,
it comes in as a
and he brings in the Avengers protocol.
and that kicks it off. So in
Yeah,
a sense, it makes sense that Tony is the anchor being.
yeah.
Chuck, do you have some Easter eggs for us that we may have missed?
Oh my gosh, I think. I mean, I mentioned so many, especially
You
like within
did.
the characters and whatnot. So I don't know that any more are coming to my mind right away. But yeah, I mean, I would say, and we did mention it up here, if you guys were gonna do some reading, like if you decided,
Yeah.
ooh, I want to check out some reading to get very excited about some of these characters, um, Wolverine. You can't really go wrong, especially if you get like any kind of like um the main series. If you
Mhm.
start at the beginning, like you could just read. But if you want shorter reads, I would say Weapon X from Age of Apocalypse. Such a great read. It will make you want to read the rest of Age of Apocalypse, but you do not have to. You can just read it and be like, oh, this is badass. This is so cool. Now I want to know more. And you can go pick up all the other ones. It was the most, probably one of the most brilliant crossovers to me. Just it
Nice.
was ballsy. Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, man, if you guys can do that, definitely check out um what was it? Is it Origins, Wolverine Origins, which is the original. It's when they finally told us where Wolverine came from, and it's such an amazing story. A lot less fights, obviously, but really, like if you want to get down to who that character is, really good one. Old Man Logan, again, great
Mhm.
read. Mark Millar is so talented. So yeah, check that one out too. Um, there's tons. Like you can't really go wrong. And Deadpool, pick up any of his issues. They also have like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
I want to get that. I want to read that. Yeah, I was looking at that
Fun,
last
so
night.
much fun. Also, Deadpool and Cable actually had their own series, and again, hilarious. If you just want to pick up the series and start reading it, like in the trade paperbacks, it's you don't need to know the rest of the world. You can just enjoy them, and it's so funny, and just that funny meets brick wall of Cable back and forth. It's so good. So yeah, man, there's tons of great reads there. You really can't go wrong.
No, thank you, Chuck. You give some great recommendations because also too for somebody who may have not really dove into actually reading comic books, it can be a little intimidating, especially with the amount of like Wolverine comics and Deadpool
Yeah.
comics out there. You're like, where can I even like hop in where it's going to make sense?
Anytime, so I'll tell you, anytime you have a full story, so if it's called like Wolverine blah, like if it has any kind of title, it's not part of a main story, you're gonna get the whole story right there. And it's gonna be a whole cool Wolverine story, no matter what it is. And one thing that I find editors, especially in the comics world, we drill into our writers all the time is you treat every comic like it's somebody's first. And so if you pick up a Wolverine trade, like especially a Wolverine, it's like a short mini series or whatever. If you pick up a mini series and you read it, you're going to enjoy it all the way through, and everything's going to make sense because that's their job and that's what they're going to do. And for the most part, I always see that like that tends to be something that happens.
Yeah. So see, people shouldn't be scared. I'm
No,
so glad that you had those recommendations, Chuck. Thank you.
glad to do it.
I know it's helpful. That's why Chuck was the man for the job. Seriously. So Chuck, what are your final thoughts on the film?
I freaking loved the movie. I do hope that it's I like I said, I think the MCU was doing fine. Not great, not amazing like it
Yeah.
has, but it was still fine. I don't think it needed any real jolt, but I think it will give it a jolt. And hopefully it also gives fans a jolt. Go check out some of the source material, but also don't take shit so fucking seriously. Have some
That is a
fun. These are fun stories.
I
Just
think
enjoy.
I'm glad you said that, Chuck, because I was watching, I was looking at other people kind of talk about this movie, just kind of clicking around on other streams. And I know some people, it doesn't even have to just be this. It's like anything, right? They're like they're hitting it hard, they're not happy with it. But also, like you have to suspend your beliefs of what the reality is of what you're watching. You're watching a comic book movie with men in tight suits like fighting
Yeah.
each other, One guy's got freaking razor or basically knives that comes out of his arm. The other guy, I don't know what to say about Deadpool, but it's a Deadpool-y guy, you know what I mean?
He's a crater-faced creep who knows what's happening outside of the movie,
Yeah,
and he regenerates instantly almost no matter what you do. If you cut his legs off,
he
they
grows.
grow back into little baby legs. Like
It's
he's a weird ass
ridiculous.
character.
It's freaking ridiculous. So I think, I enjoy it. I did, I had a lot of fun with it. It reinvigorated my interest in the MCU and what's coming, because I felt like I was suffering very heavily from like superhero burnout.
Yeah.
Because I was watching, I still watch almost everything, whatever,
Yeah.
and we come from a time where it wasn't allowed. They didn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, when we were young, like in high school and whatnot, and in public school, there wasn't a lot of this great geek culture that you could cling on to. And now it's here. And I'm like, guys,
Is it
stop bitching
yeah.
about it because it's gonna go away again.
You do, right? Because before it was like, "Oh, you freaking nerd," and
Yeah.
like and I remember feeling like a nerd, and people were like, "Oh, you like this, you like that, ew," like,
Yeah.
and it's become very more accepted. That's why I figured this name up here, this nerd culture thing was a good name for it,
Yeah. It's a great name.
because we're allowed to be, it's just become so popular now, and it's okay to like nerdy things, and it's okay to talk about it, and actually I guess a lot of people are nerds, so I guess it's very
Yeah, yeah.
comforting.
I think most of us have some of that in us.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you're watching this, you have to. But right?
So
But
true.
it's so true, and oh, see, so yeah, Sylvain likes the name. But no, I'm excited. I don't know if you saw any of the Fantastic Four stuff that came out during
Mm,
Comic-Con or maybe
a
D23.
little bit, yeah.
But I wrote it in the notes. I feel like maybe this is the one. This is the Fantastic Four that breaks the film curse.
And actually, I think you might be right. I think the special ingredient to this one, for me personally, is that if you really like look at the Fantastic Four, they're they're a pretty nerdy group, and they're off kilter. They're a little weird, and I think all of the previous movies tried to take them really seriously.
And kinda make them cool, right? We got
Yeah, and
the
make them
Johnny
cool. It's like
Storm,
the Fantastic Four have never been cool. Don't do that. You're missing out on what they are. And I've never been a huge Fantastic Four fan, but I have respect for the franchise. Like it's a big
Yeah,
deal. And so I think the idea of doing starting it like the 60s is such a fun idea.
I think
Yeah,
it fits, right?
yeah.
It fits
It
so much.
absolutely fits. Have fun, play with that, and then like you can bring them to now or whatever, and have them. They get to be your new Captain America, out of time, not fully
Yeah, but
understanding
what
what's
do they call
going
it?
on,
Fish out
trying
of
to
water time, yeah.
yeah, and then watching that this new world affect them and change them. Dude, there's so much to play with at that point. I love the idea. I'm in.
I'm ready for it, and, and one more thing I think I'll bring up too is speaking of the anchor being, Marvel is, I don't know if you guys probably saw, but Marvel's bringing back fucking Robert Downey Jr. as
Yeah,
Doctor Doom, or at least a variant.
yeah. Oh, you know what? Speaking of anchor being, there was
Yes,
one more theory that I thought was really
please.
sweet. And hopefully, and this is one that I think they said that in the 616 universe, the anchor being was Stan Lee
Oh,
because
shit.
he'd been in all of the movies up until his passing. And
Oh,
so it's
shit.
like, oh, that's so fucking cool. I love that idea.
I love that idea. I hadn't heard that one. That is a good
Yeah,
theory. So, I think yeah, I think we hit everything, Chuck, on our
I think
roadmap
so.
tonight. So I'm really excited. Doing an outline helped, I think. It kept us organized and
It
it kept
was
us on the
great.
road.
Well, and what was terrific is we didn't have to just go down the list. We went all over that map, but
But
we
we
hit
hit everything.
everything.
That's how you make a freaking podcast, guys. That's how
You
you do it.
done good, girl. You done good.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I don't know what's gonna happen next time, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to thank everybody watching live. Well, thank you. Hey Enzo, hey Sylvain, thanks for hanging out. This was the first one, the first of many. I have a lot of plans for this channel, so please subscribe and follow, and we'll see you next time. And
Yeah.
thank you, Chuck. You've made this so much fun.
Oh, thank you so much for including me. And if you ever want me back, I'll be here in a heartbeat. I love the idea of this.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck. And of course, now we'll never have this Chuck guy back, guys.
He's an issue.
Oh, now we got people showing up just as we're
I know what the
thinking.
heck, guys.
I know. I'm like, oh, but go back and watch it from the beginning, guys. I'm so glad you can hang out. We'll see you next time. Just follow here on what is this, YouTube, and subscribe. And when there's a video up or an episode or a live stream, you'll be notified. So we have no music, but we're just gonna close it off with the logo again. Go watch a movie, guys. Have some fun. And
Have
I think
fun.
Chuck made a good point. Don't take it so seriously. It's a movie. And yeah.